Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, we're back again with Coach Little Z, or better known as Brett Zandes. Brett Zandes, better known as Coach Little Z 23. Today we're going to be doing a Quora Questions. He's been doing Quora for almost a year now, I believe.
Nah, just like a few months.
Oh, just a few months. Okay,
yeah.
Just a few months. And he's had over 450 questions answered. And it was like 10,000 upvotes or something crazy number like that. Is that right?
No, but it was like 100,000 views, and then they were kicking me off, and then there was like 150 upvotes, and then they took them down because they said I was saying similar answers. I'm like, well, yeah, if there's one smart answer, that's the same one I'm going to give on every question, you idiots.
So if you guys want to go and check him out, this is just a sample of 30 to 40 questions that we're going to be doing. I think you guys would really enjoy to see what he's saying. It's a lot similar to what he's telling you guys, but maybe, for you guys that are visual learners and, can read it, it'd be better for you guys. So you can find him at, Quora Brett Zandes. As you guys know, he's a system king. He's a time hacker, and he gets everyone to meet their goals through systems. And if you guys can just run the system, he's been telling me this for years, and it's finally starting to click for me just a little bit, and it's made my life so much easier, not just professionally but personally as well, to get everything organized. So I hope that you guys are enjoying it as much as we are, and I enjoy that I get to ask him these questions, and I'm glad that I'm able to do this and I have this opportunity. So thank you.
No, thank you. Hopefully we're providing value and support for the people. I believe that we are. Mm-hmm. The one thing I'd like to say before you get started, or two things actually. One is, so these will be questions, because I know I asked or answer questions on Quora in like 3 to 5 different categories, yes. But this will primarily be around business and entrepreneurship.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And then the second thing is, I've been thinking a lot about this, and we've talked about that I think we're ahead of the wave on systems. Yeah. And so, the question is, how do you make systems sexy enough to where people want to do them, right, to get involved? So I would ask the audience that, if you have a comment on how you think we can do that, right? Because you can be the best marketer, brander, advertiser, salesperson, this side of the Mississippi. But the reality is, if it's not sexy, it's hard to, get that word out. Yeah. So if anybody has ideas on how to do that, and the second part is, you and I have talked about this before. So we know Nike, great marketers and different things of that nature. But Kleenex or Q-Tip or the bottled water guy, I want to know what their hacks were and what their tricks were to get it out. Because the bottled water guy is taking basic tap water, purifying it, or saying that it comes from a mountain spring, or whatever the case may be, and turn around, put it into a half a cent bottle and sell it to us for $2. Yep. That guy's pretty smart. I want to know what was going on there. But anyway, if you guys, have anything that might be able to be helpful for us as well, we would appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this time, instead of questions that I wrote, I took them from the internet, so I don't memorize them. So I'm just going to read it straight down the list, and we'll go from there.
You don't memorize questions anyway, you liar. You ain't memorized anything in your whole life.
50-50.
The new one around the household, they go, yes, Brett?
Yeah.
Is agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, we've been saying that for last week and a half.
So we're going to start with business first.
Yeah.
And so question number 1 says, how did you get the first 10 users for your online business, and how long did it take you?
About 4 seconds.
Okay.
And I did it the same way I would do it, whether it was an online business or any other business. And I've said this before, I use the analogy of the airplane is going down to crash, so to speak. What do they tell you? You put the oxygen mask on the pilot or different. No, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first. So I'm always customer or client number 1.
Okay.
Right? If I don't believe enough in what I'm selling and I break it down into services, products, and merchandise, then I won't sell it. Right. So now I'm down to 9. Right. So that one was pretty quick. And then I'll go out and talk to mom, dad, grandma, aunt, uncle, sister, cousin, your brother, So, we all know probably 40 to 50 people that will probably buy from us even if they don't want it or need it, but because they're just want to be supportive of us.
Got it.
So whether that be an online business or a brick and mortar or a service business or a product business or you name it, that's how I do it.
Okay, got it. Question number 2 said, how can I increase my mobile repair business, meaning mobile like their phones?
Yeah. Again, I don't care if it's mobile phones or immobile phones or anywhere in between. I mean, the process to increase, which I'm guessing they mean by that, would be the revenues.
Yeah, I would assume that was just the question that was asked, but I would assume that is correct.
Yeah, so based off of revenues only, because that's not how we track our number one thing.
Right.
We track how many people do we help, especially with youth.
Right.
But so we have what we call outstanding opportunity, and then we have financially fiscal, which I think is probably what they're asking. So I'll go with that. So it's like anything else. So you can do what I call branding, which is going to be what I call more in the macro, an 18-month process. And so you just get the word out, however you're going to get it out. So you can do a lot of free stuff, social media posts, emails, texts, different things of that, primarily free type stuff. But, if you want to increase it right now, that's probably not going to be the case. That's going to take a while because you're more branding, which would be logo recognition, tagline recognition, colors, what do you do, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
The second part I call marketing, which is more what I call in the mezzos, which I just figured out that's 2 Z's, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm like MEZOS, and I don't know, I looked it up. I'm like, there's 2 Z's in there, which means there's 4 Z's if you get the pun there. But anyway, the marketing is typically going to be more like paid advertisement. So you can lose at first if you don't know what you're doing there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start with a smaller budget and figure out, that one ad that's really taken off, then you can do that. And so I call that marketing in the mezzos, which would be more like 30 days to 180 days. And then you have what I would call advertising, which would be specifically paid ads. So you can do them in both spots,
right,
or other forms of advertising, and that should ring the register right away, but it's high cost. So it's like anything else, there's a continuum. When you get over here into branding, it's going to take longer, but it's less money out of your pocket. If you want to go in the middle with marketing, it's more of a 50-50 balance. If you want to go the other direction, you're spending, Super Bowl ads are, I don't know, $5 million.
Right.
But you have a chance for some great things to happen. Probably a small business like that doesn't have that kind of stuff. So those are the 3 primary ways. And then what I like to talk about are the 3 basic arenas underneath that, what I call natural networking, which is what I just shared previously. Start with yourself first, and then go out, family, friends, whatever, and see if you can get one of your family and friends to start running their mouths, and you give them a little percentage of the business, or they'll just do it for free. I call that networking.
Got it.
And then the next one would be referrals, where you go out to your customers and you say, hey, just out of curiosity, would you know of 10 people's names that I can get? And again, if you do that very specifically, then you would ask a very great question, because their brain's going all over. Who needs mobile phone? Who needs mobile, phone repair? Who needs, just say, no, just your friends and family. And then what I usually say before that to make them feel comfortable, say, hey, have I treated you, good? Yeah. How's your experience been? Oh, really good. Okay, well, I promise to treat your people the same way. Otherwise, they don't want to give up,
right,
their number. So I call that the real referrals. And then the last one is what I call traditional transmissions, which you and I always laugh about. We may change the word transmissions. It's not the best, but conceptually it stays the same. And that is some of the stuff that we talked about, whether it's paid advertisement or social media or different things like that, old school radio, TV, let's say, you walk up on your door and you get the little postcard that says, hey, I'll clean your house. There's different things of that nature. But it just depends on how fast you want to go and what you're really trying to accomplish. But those are the half a dozen methods or things that I would use to be able to get that. But let's simplify it all. you got to get more attention, which means you got to blink on people. And then when you get them in, you got to sell them.
Yeah.
And then once they become your client customer, treat them really, really good so you can keep them and upsell them.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Third question is, what are some tips to starting up your own small business?
Well, I think it's like starting anything else, right? So I'll just give a simple analogy of, let's say you wanted to start, weight loss, right? And so I have a simple thing that I do, and I call it like almost like an action plan type thing. So I say, SP is here, right? So I'm going to do a little like diamond. So SP is over here, starting point. And then ER over here is your end result. What are you really wanting to accomplish? And usually that's going to be around money or, different things of that nature when it comes to business or entrepreneurship. And then what I have up here are the benchmarks. And then down at the bottom of the diamond, so to speak, is what are all the things that I can, do to ensure that happens. So let's go with weight loss.
Yep.
So I start here, I'm at 240. The end result I want to be at, let's say, is 200.
Yes.
So then let's say I want to do this all within, 4 months. So month 1, I need to lose 10 pounds. Month 2, 10 pounds, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So those are the benchmarks. And then what am I going to do underneath there? Well, I want to be able to sleep better. I want to hydrate better. I want to consume better. Whatever those things are.
Right.
And then if you're hitting your benchmark, celebrate. If not, then what you would do is you would adjust to those or pivot. And if you're undecided, it's kind of somewhere between. Start questioning it to be able to push it one way or another. But I want to talk specifically now when you're talking about tips to starting up a business.
Yeah.
So if you're going to start it from scratch, it's really a 3-step process in its simplest terms. So number 1, what you're going to do is you're going to have to come up with an idea.
Okay.
So is that idea going to be around a service, a product, or merchandise that you're going to want to sell? Okay. Services, I think, are pretty easy to know.
Yeah.
Products are easy to know. And then people go, well, what's the difference between a product and a service? Well, for us, because we create a lot of products, we call whatever we create internally as a product, and whatever we purchase from somebody else, which is the easiest way to start up a business, that you have somebody else do all the work because it's hard to invent new things. Right. And then what you would do from there is you would say, okay, I'm going to buy some merchandise. But you have to have an idea. I say try to find something that you're passionate about or that you love or that there's a need out there for it or whatever, that you found trouble or so on and so forth. So that's number 1. And then number 2 is you got to blink. You got to get people's attention. You got to get the word out.
Yeah.
And we just talked about all those things.
Right.
And then the third thing is you got to take care of that client and that customer.
Yep.
And you got to go from there. The other thing that I would say on that answer is start with mindset.
Yep.
Get organized. Go and do. Collect data on what's important to you around the mindset. And then thoughtfully advance, which we've talked about 100 times. But if you're a brand new viewer, we say that on thoughtful advancement, when you collect the data, you're going to like it, dislike it, or you're going to be undecided. So if you like it, then celebrate.
Yeah.
Pop a Jolly Rancher, slap yourself on the rear, give yourself a high five, take yourself on a getaway vacation, buy a new shirt, do something.
Right.
If you do not like it, you need to either pivot or you need to adjust. Do something different. So in the case of you're trying to lose weight, maybe it's more water. I was going to, do 100 ounces, a day. Now maybe do 120. Or, I was getting 8 hours of rest. I'm going to get 9 hours or whatever the case may be. And then, like I say, upsell those customers, treat them good, so on and so forth.
Got it. For the 4th question, what are the steps involved in growing a company from good to great?
Okay, so again, I don't know if they're specifically talking about money or not, but to me, I'm going to talk about it probably 2 ways, but you may have to remind me because I may only remember one. But one, from good to great to me is an experience. It's a cultural type thing. So we call one of our systems, it's called creating a culture of excellence. Yeah. And so how do you do that? Through team building, through icebreakers, through, one-on-ones, getting to know them, helping people to understand what is your horizon statement, what is your mission, what is your vision, so that it becomes really tight like a family almost.
Got it.
The best sports teams out there are the ones that come together. They'll have a cathartic moment, and they're just like, it just really, ultimately comes together in ways that are kind of unexplainable, right?
Right.
It's like the synergy of 1 + 1 = 10 somehow.
Yeah.
And you're like, how does that work out? It just kind of works out.
Got
And then can you tell me the question again?
What are the steps involved in growing a company from good to great?
Yeah, so the specific steps, that's kind of, I like to talk about theory on one part of the continuum and then talk about the granulars. And they're asking, in my opinion, a granular question. What's the step? Step by step, so to speak. So I think it's like anything else. I think it starts with the mindset, right? And so I always say, get your mindset right about whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So whoever's asking that question probably already has a good mindset because they're wanting to go from good to great.
Right.
Right. So when you talk about that, what are some things that you're doing in the collecting the data, which is part of that individual system or a business system? What are you doing to be able to be good? And then what will it take to be great? You have to define it.
Yeah.
Right? So for us to be great, we have to serve more people. That's our number one.
Yeah.
Our second one is the money part of it. More money, more mission. That's how we look at it.
Yeah.
And the third part of that is getting stuff in and giving stuff away. And so we break that down, as I've said before, outstanding opportunity, financially fiscal, and then charitable contributions.
Got it.
And the charitable is both us giving.
Right.
We have two ways we do that, plus receiving.
Got it.
Yeah, but I think that it's starting with mindset. It's getting organized, going out and doing, right? You can't stay up in this theory world of, ready, set, or, ready, you got to fire. You as a track guy we've talked about, on your marks, get set. On your marks, get set. I mean, it'd be frustrating. Yeah. But a lot of people, that's where they stay. And that's why they're going to always be just good.
Right.
I've had people tell me that before. Well, it's already good. And I go, yeah. But if you thought about changing this, and this, it could be great.
Right.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
So I think they're on the right track just by asking the question. But it's a step-by-step process. And a lot of it is trial and error. But at least, measure. Go ahead and cut. And then if you have to go, oh, crap, I cut it too short, go back and get something else, and it'll eventually work out.
Got it. Okay. Oh, can anyone come up with a special and memorable name for a business? My business is selling cookies and cakes and other stuff too. Okay,
Kathy's Cakes or Kathy's Cookies with the C, by the way. Yeah, I've talked about the process quite a bit, and it's funny. Very specifically on Quora, they've asked, how did I come up with the name of, one of the companies or some of the companies? And it actually is the one that's most popular, which I think is interesting. So I'll just tell you how we did it the first time, but then with our other 9 businesses, we were probably still thoughtful because that's how we roll, but we weren't as thoughtful. So when we decided that the second business was going to be Consult for Kids, we were coming back from a certain area that was out of town. It was about an hour drive. And we go, you know what? We think this is going to turn into a business. We might want to figure out the name, right? We kind of already knew the tagline, which is to level the playing field for youth. So we already kind of knew, that would probably be our tagline.
Right.
Or our mission or something,
Got it.
So we just started playing and we just said, hey, what is our bottom line? Like, get to the most granular level. What are we really about? And we said, supporting and helping kids. So we were like, well, kids will probably be in there somewhere. So then we started playing around and said, okay, well, how are we supporting them? So what are we trying to do?
Right.
Have you ever heard of the W's method that I use? I don't think I've ever brought that up before.
Yeah. I don't know if you have, though.
Well, I'll bring it up real quick. Yeah. So we go, it's the why, the who, what, when, where, and how spelled backwards to make it a W.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what we said is, why are we doing this? What to help kids? Then we just kind of went through that process. So anyway, as we were coming back, we knew kids want to be in. We said, what are we doing to help them? The what? Right? Well, we're training the adults that work with kids. We're consulting. We're, what? That, sound and kids. And we thought, well, that could go together, even though one's a C and one's a K.
Right.
And so we kind of played around with that. And then ultimately, we said, well, okay, so what we're doing is, consulting blank kids, and we said we're consulting for kids, and then we
Right.
got creatively put the number 4 versus 4.
Yeah.
So, that was probably a little bit more of a thoughtful process. And I always say in the end, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I went into Bob's Muffler before and asked for Bob, and Charlie is running it. And I'm like, well, where's Bob? Oh, he was the previous one. It doesn't really matter if you're a good, brander, marketer, advertiser, seller,
Right.
all of those types of things, a good networker, you can get referrals in, all these traditional things, because really that's what matters. But I understand that people want to be thoughtful about it.
Yeah.
So I, because consult for kids worked out good, I would say, Kathy's Cups with a K or something, and then put cake underneath. I don't know. I do something like that.
Got it.
I charge 10% Kathy.
How does time management work for small businesses?
I think it works the same way as everything else. And, and I kind of said in the preview about, systems aren't necessarily sexy. I'm going to turn them into a little bit sexy just so we know. But they're the ultimate time hack. And I think that if people would understand that, if it's a 1-for-1, if there's just one chore, then maybe systems are a little bit slower. But if you have to do that same thing 100 times in a row, right? And I'm saving just 10 minutes here, but I have to do it 100 times or 1,000 times or 10,000 times. That's why people do conveyor belts or assembly lines or different things of that nature. And so can you ask me that question again?
Yeah, it says, how does time management work for small businesses?
Yeah, so whether you're an individual, a small business, a big business, anywhere in between, it's all about hacking little bits of time.
Right.
If I can hack 10 minutes here, but I have 1,000 people that work with me and for me, right? That's a lot of minutes in just one day.
Yeah.
But what about a week? What about a month? What about?
Right.
So I think it's finding systems and structures that allow you to both formally and informally plug in. So I have formal systems out the wazoo,
Right.
but I also informally plug into parts of those all the time.
Right.
And so that's why I say I can get more done in 2 hours than most people get done in 8 hours or even a week.
Right. Got it. Gotcha.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.